We left Pond Inlet the 2nd of August and headed east through Eclipse Bay through heavy drifting ice. When we did navigate through ice, we would have a crew member on the bow that would indicate to the person on the helm which direction to steer to find a path through the ice. This person also helped push the ice away from the hull with the use of a pole. We passed Cape Graham Moore to port and headed north into Baffin Bay along the eastern shore of Bylot Island. Due to strong northerly winds that night, we sheltered in a cove for supper and a cup of tea, and 3 hours later headed north towards Lancaster Sound. Past 4 very large icebergs drifting east during the night, and at noon on the 3rd of August we passed Cape Liverpool on our port beam. We were fortunate enough to be receiving ice reports from friends all over the world by email who were studying the ice conditions for us, and from other sailors we met along the way who were also sailing the Northwest Passage. Due to a forecasted gale, we, along with some other sailboats who were attempting the Northwest Passage, headed for safety to Dundas Harbour on the south-eastern shore of Devon Island. An excellent deep natural harbour at 74 degrees north, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, called Talaruti by the Inuits, meaning a woman's chin with tattoos. It was here that we first met the Australian yacht Drina, her owner and captain Mike Thurston, crew members Paul Kerrigan, Matt Jensen-Young and Roscoe Booker. Mike had sailed from Australia, but this trip around the Northwest Passage began in Bristol, Rhode Island. It was here where we also met Gary and Lee Small aboard their sailing vessel Molo Dark from British Columbia. Gary and Lee had sailed to Wales via the Panama Canal, where they spent a year with Lee's family in North Wales, and were now on their way home to British Columbia through the Northwest Passage. As we prepared Catherine for the upcoming storm, we took many a hike ashore and saw a pair of peregrine falcons that were nesting on a craggy cliff above our boat. And to the north, on a green grassy meadow, was a herd of musk oxen, and flying overhead was a large flock of brant geese. In the harbour below we saw ring seals and walrus, and we were surrounded by high mountains to the east, north and the west, and a natural high sea wall on the south side of the harbour. One afternoon, Catherine and Phil went ashore with a gun and radio for a long hike. Within a couple of hours they called us to say they'd spied a polar bear very close by, and it was headed in the direction of the dinghy on the shore, and it was going to cut them off.
We've just been on the top of that mountain over there, and we were literally, I got my chocolate bar out, we were just admiring the view, and Phil said to me, "Hey, can you just pass me the binoculars?" And I looked over and there was this white speck moving around, and yet there was a polar bear, big massive polar bear lumbering along towards us. Quite a way away, we were safe, but I must have to say my heart went up. And I got the radio out and I called up Catherine and said some panicky words to say that we were on our way down with this polar bear coming at us. So I don't know where my chocky bar is. I think that's still at the top of the hill because I dropped that. And anyway, so then we just chucked our stuff in the rucksack and started really going down this hill quite fast. But it was all gravelly and stone, so you couldn't really find your footing. And we were trying to go as fast as we could, but at the same time keep an eye out backwards to have a look to see where it was. And there was always the possibility it was going to cut us off because we didn't know which way it was going to go, either one side or the other side of the hill. But we managed to get down, and when we got to the beach, we were out of sight then, so then we had to call you guys out to make sure it wasn't going to cut us off on the shore. But then Di and Pete managed to get to the shore in time for us, and we leapt onto the dinghy and got here, and here we are safe.
The storm started on a Thursday afternoon. The winds started picking up. It's very unusual to have a gale during the summer months in the Arctic, but this one was a big one, and it lasted 36 hours, and we were all anchored together at the south end of the harbour.
Now as the storm really got quite bad, and it really did get bad, we're talking about hurricane force winds at 60 knots, and you could feel the boat sort of lurching, so it would lurch one way and then you get another. So we're talking about big gusts of wind hammering on, so the boat would be right on its side and then hammering on the other side.
I was terrified, watching the wind come down and the waves and the ice behind, seeing all the other boats having as difficult time as we were. I mean, we were almost 36 hours with the engine going, trying to keep the boat out of trouble.
As the afternoon progressed, we had gusts up to 50 knots funneling down the canyons to the shore. Willie wars are sudden blasts of wind, A type of katabatic wind, the result of a dense, cold air from ice fields in high altitudes gushing down to the ocean below.
The water was like being whipped up in spray, and then we could see them heading towards us, and then it hit us, poof, knock us really flat.
During the storm, I think the thing that we were most concerned about was the fact that if the anchor did not hold, we would have been less than a minute and we'd be on the rocks.